All the things you can learn in short space, but the time's still running, don't let it waste. Yeah, you can learn with me, cause when I'm reading, oh, it's so amazing, so amazing. I flip the page, I see it written down again and again. I'm humble and I'm hearkening, that if you will today, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, follow me, yeah, follow me, yeah, to the Sabbath day. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, follow me, yeah, to the Sabbath day. Then we go and keep it holy, we make it to the next day. Do you know what today is? It's our hidden history. You can learn in short space, but the time's still running, don't let it waste. Yeah, you can learn with me, cause when I'm reading, oh, it's so amazing. So do you know what to Time running, it's amazing. All the things you can learn in short space, but the time's still running, don't let it waste. Yeah, you can learn with me, cause when I'm reading, oh, it's so amazing, so amazing. I flip the page, I see it written down again and again. I'm humble and I'm hearkening, that if you
Hey, Shalom Israel. Welcome back to our Hidden History Radio Show. My name is Captain Joel, And to my right,
Officer Laquat.
Officer Jez.
Officer Yakin.
Officer Abaddon.
hey, welcome back, Israel. So we're gonna retouch. We last left off from 2 weeks ago. So today's title again is Alexander and Philip of Edom becoming Japheth and the pharaohs of Egypt. So like I said before, we took a small detour going around from after we came out of Egypt, leading to the Ptolemies becoming the new pharaohs of Egypt, and Esau, the Idumeans, whitewashing history as we know today. We call it cultural appropriation, culture vulture, identity theft. So now, we touched also, like I said, we went into Esau, or Idumeans, Alexander, as well as Philip, his lineage, taking on the heritage or culture of Japheth. Can we start off with Micah chapter 2, verse 1, to show you that this is their nature, and has always been from the book of Genesis. Micah chapter 2, verse 1.
The book of Micah, chapter 2 and verse 1. Woe to them that devise iniquity and work evil upon their beds. When the morning is light, they practice it, because it is in the power of their hand.
It's in the power of their hand to practice evil. When they go to sleep, they're thinking of evil. How can I attract these people? What could I put in place to keep this society going and keep the Israelites in darkness? Go on.
And they covet fields.
And they covet fields. They covet land masses. They covet countries. They covet continents. Read.
And take them by violence.
And they take them by violence. They don't take them by democracy. They don't take them by voting. They don't exchange money or any goods for that land.
Right.
They don't purchase it. They say that Gad sold the land for beads. No. They took it by violence. They robbed them. They murdered. They massacred. They genocide them. Go on.
And houses. And take them away.
And houses, and they take them away. Go on.
So they oppress a man and his house.
So they oppress a man and his house. So all the territories or different locations that Esau has acquired today, they not only conquer that land, they not only devise it, but what they also do is they change the history. They take on the history, they take on the names, and they bring the infrastructure there to the point that you would never know that there's a preceding nation that used to live in that territory.
Right.
So that's the nature and characteristic of this white man, so-called white man Esau that we know as today. So now I want to touch on Japheth's son. So some of the main figures that, like I said, we dealt with in the last couple of weeks concerning Japheth. You have now, I want you guys to write this down. Madai. So Madai is the Medes today. You have Javan. Javan are the Greeks as well as the Ionians. You have Tyrus. Tyrus are the Thracians as well as the Etruscans. We're going to get into that today. You have Elisha. They were called the Hellenes. Elisha or Elissa, Ellis, Helen, Hellenes, Hellespont, or the Greeks. So he was the son of Javan as well. You have Tarshish, Spain. Kittim, the Latins as well as the Macedonians. You have Dodanim, the Greek islands, Rhodes. So these are the different territories that Japheth acquired and lived in. Esau, later on, as you're going to see, as we go deep into the history, we're going to go into the beginning of their migration, going to those territories, Etrusia, as well as Greece or Macedon, and how he spread forth throughout the West and conquered all of Europe, and it spread off to Americas today. So we're tracing a lineage. Let's go to the Polynesians and Wikipedia, the etymology. Okay.
Polynesia. 1758, Latinization of French Polynesia. Coined 1756 by French writer Charles de Brucy. In History des Navigation, yeah.
Okay, let's go. Skip down to the word was first used. Go on.
Go down. The word was first used in English in a review of it. Coined from Greek polys, many.
Meaning polys, meaning many. Go on.
From pi root pele, to fill, plus nasos, island.
So many islands. So you have the Polynesian people, which is the Samoans, the Hawaiians, which are the Hawaiians. You have the Taiwanesians. You have the, what else? Get the list, actually. We have the list of the Polynesians. Go to Wikipedia. We brought it out last week. So there's a whole list of the Polynesians, or those that inhabited the Pacific Ocean islands. And you notice it, if you look at the correlation between the Japhetic tribes that live on the Eastern Hemisphere, it's similar to the different islands that they lived in the Western Hemisphere. They inhabited the same type of territories. You got it? In terms
Fiji
of
is part of it too.
Yep, Fiji. So get the list of all the names. Is that it right there?
Go down.
Go down a little bit. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Let's read it.
Polynesia, Maori, New Zealand, Samoa, Tahitians, Hawaiians, the Tonga, Cook Islands, Nui, Rotuman, Tokelau, Tuamato, Marquise, Rapa Nui, Australia, Mangarera, Maria.
All right, that's it. So just show you a list. So these are the different Polynesian islands where Japheth migrated to. I'll say it again. You got it? So
pull up the islands.
Yeah, pull up the islands. So these are the different Polynesian islands that Japheth migrated to. Now, if you looked at the book that we pulled out last week or 2 weeks ago, with the pharaohs all the way to Greece, you look at the Minoans. Remember, Minoans, you have Sir Arthur Evans is the one that coined the term or Minoans from King Minos. Remember, King Minos descended from Tarshish, a son of Javan. So that's why they called it the Minoan civilization, rather than calling Japhet civilization. Because why? Esau changes history. They change names so that it doesn't go back, relate to the Bible, to hide the history within a mythology or hide the history throughout fathers. Rather than calling the Japhetic civilization, they call it the Minoan civilization. That's why it's very difficult. Like I said, the bishop, if you look at his previous class that he did years ago, or who are the Greeks today, he showed different vases of black figures. And we're going to show you again. So these are different Polynesian islands. It's no different from Crete, Mycenaean Islands, the Eugene Sea, or the Eugene Islands. It's the same thing. So Can we go back to the other side? Yeah, the Greek islands.
Yeah, so they in the Greek islands. So the Polynesians pretty much live the way they lived in the Greek islands. Okay, they all laid themselves out just how they lived in the Greek islands before Esau came in.
Yep. Get me Minoan civilization. The next one.
Minoan civilization. The Minoan civilization was a Bronze Age Aegean civilization on the island of Crete and other Aegean islands.
See, on the island of Crete, as well as other Aegean islands. So the way that they used to live on this or that side of the world is the same way that they used to live on this side, or that they live on this side of the world in the Pacific Ocean islands. Go on.
Whose earliest beginnings date to 3500 BC, with the complex urban civilization beginning around 2000 BC and then declining from 1450 BC until it ended around 1100 BC, during the early Greek Dark Ages. Part of a wider Bronze Age collapse around the Mediterranean. It represents the first advanced civilization in Europe, leaving behind a number of massive building complexes.
So wait, read that last part again. It represented what?
It represents the first advanced civilization in Europe.
So the Japhetic Islands, like I said, the Japhetic territory represents the first European civilization.
Right.
The Edomite civilizations, or the Caucasians that live in there today, that people mistaken as Japheth, that's how they say that the Ashkenazis is Gomer. No, because the reason why they're looking at the different territories that Japheth inhabited and they're putting Esau in that place because Esau conquers. That was a part of their blessing, that their dwelling should be the fatness of the earth. And we're going to get into that later. Like I said, we're just warming up. So we're just doing a recap on some of the territories that Japheth acquired after Noah and his sons divided the different land masses. Japheth took what is called Europe. The Caucasian that we know as today is not Japhetic. All of them descend from Esau, Edom, or Idumeans. All right? Now, let's get the next one. The Wonder Wall. And I want you, if you can find the different Polynesian sculptures for the Minoans. Because like I said again, Esau has certain scholars, just like you have during the ancient Egyptian time period. You have, what's his name? Francois La Champollion. They call him the forefather of Egyptology because why? He's the one that deciphered the Rosetta Stone and to be able to decipher the hieroglyphics. And from that time period, he's the one that put the illusion or put it out there that all Caucasians or the Caucasians were the pharaohs of ancient Egypt. He's the one that put that out there and his followers. And Esau is taken to another level because of the media as well as Hollywood. They're able to whitewash or change the images before us because why? They had access to that land. If you don't read, if you don't study, if you don't travel, how would you know? We live in a box called America, the Matrix. We only know what they feed us and what they give us.
So what you're saying, in other words, a Negro thinking come from the so-called white man about ancient Egypt and about other histories.
Yep. Exactly.
The Macedonian dynasty of Ptolemies ruled Egypt from 323 to 30 BC, relying on the knowledge of the ancient Egyptians. The Ptolemies monopolized the Red Sea trade and became primary suppliers of pearls.
I want to jump all the way down to modern Hawaiian. Yep.
Modern Hawaiian and Polynesian contain some Greek words, suggesting that certain Greeks sailed way past India to the Pacific.
To the Pacific Islands. So it says modern Hawaiians, the Samoans, and Polynesians. So all those different names that we just read earlier, the Polynesian people. So what do they do? It says contain some Greek words. Go on.
Suggesting that certain Greeks sailed way past India to the Pacific. Greek coins have been found in Java and in Southeast Asia.
Wait a minute.
Wow.
Greek coins have been found in Java. Why are the ancient Greek coins from the Dark Greek dynasty, why are the coins found in Java on the Pacific Islands? If they're sailors or they didn't make that migration thousands of years ago.
Right.
Why? Because the Japhetic people, Javan, and his descendants migrated to those territories in the Polynesian Islands, or what is called the Pacific Ocean, or the Pacific Islands. Now, let's go to Javanese people. And notice how it says, migrated was found, the Greek coins have been found in Java. That sounds interesting.
Right.
Have been found in Java.
Bring it out.
Javanese people.
Javanese people. The Javanese, Indonesian, are an ethnic group native to the central and eastern part of the Indonesian island of Java, with approximately 100 million people. Javanese people are the largest ethnic group in Indonesia and the whole Southeast Asia in general. Their native language is Javanese.
Wait, their native language? Now, what's the coincidence that a Greek coin was found on the island of Java, and then you have a people called the Javanese come from Javan? They say, oh, it's not coincidental. And scholars try to refute and argue the fact that some scholars, say not all scholars, a lot of scholars understand that the Indonesians or the people that call themselves Javanese are in fact the descendants of Java or Javan, which are the ancient Greeks. So what is the coincidence that Java or the Javanese people have Greek coins from the other side of the world? And they call the island Java. And on top of that, they call themselves the Javanese people. Make it make sense.
Where are the bombs?
Make it make sense to me. They call themselves the Javanese people. They have Greek coins.
Right.
Greeks or Greek comes from Javan, a descendant of Japheth. Keep reading.
Their native language is Javanese.
And on top of that, they say their native language is Javanese. And I wouldn't be surprised if they had Greek within their language. Just like today, for example, you have Gad. Gad has some Hebrew writings in it. Or he still held some type of form of the Hebrew, even though it's been mixed in throughout the different captivities. They accepted different forms of the Hebrew. Like you have Assyria was mixed in with the Hebrews, Babylon. Any tongue, any captivity that we were under, we adopted a part of the language and mixed it in.
Cap is like with English. We don't got the same
Exactly.
English here
Yeah.
or in the UK. It's different English.
It's a Bassa language. Languages evolve based upon the territory that you live. You tend to adopt some terminology. Like, for example, the language, the English that we learn today, black people took it to another level. We call it Ebonics. It's not even English. You be like, what? And then you go to the South, some brothers be talking, be like, yeah, man, me Jimmy don't see me. I said, oh, snap. Like, oh, snap. What did you say?
I need captures for that.
Hey, Cap, it's so bad they even got an urban dictionary for us now.
Oh, yeah, they do. What is it? Wicked.
No, it's called an urban dictionary.
Oh, the urban, actually, yeah. Like the urban dictionary. to show you how language is evolved based upon the people you live with, the captivity that you lived in, or the territory that you dwell in. Now, so the Javanese people, Indonesian. It's not coincidence that they call themselves the Javanese. And they also live in the Pacific Islands. Now, let's go to the next book. The American Eclectic. This is 1842. White eyes only. I want to start where it says, of the sons of Japheth.
Blow it up. No, you good. Go down. Right there. Of the sons of Japheth, it is necessary here to notice the name of Javan, the reputed ancestor of the Javanese.
Wait, the reputed ancestor of what?
Of the Javanese.
Of the Javanese people.
Wow.
What other peoples called the Javanese? Because Java from Javan. The Java people or the Javanese people. It's not a coincidence. Go on.
Okay, I gotta read that over.
Yeah, read it
I'm
again.
sorry. Of the sons of Japheth, it is necessary here to notice the name of Javan.
Of the name of Javan. Javan came from Japheth. Go on.
The reputed ancestor.
The reputed ancestor of who?
Of the Javanese.
Of the Javanese people. Go on.
The Ionians.
The Ionians. Go
the
on.
Ionians.
Uh-huh.
Or Greeks.
Or the Greeks. The Javanese people are the Greeks. Go on.
Because some have supposed the Javanians or the Ionians the first discoverers of America.
Whoa. Let's read that again. Drop the bomb.
Because some have supposed the Javanese
Some has supposed that the Javanese people, go on,
or Ionians the first discoverers of America.
they say that they suppose that they're the first discoverers of America. Go on.
No doubt, the great spirit of discovery, which the Greeks indicated under the names of Perseus and Hercules, early pervaded the regions of the West, a portion to Gomer, whom we shall hereafter prove to have been identical with Atlas. No doubt, the Ionians or Greeks had many struggles with the Gomerites or Atlanteans for the supremacy, but we hasten to show that it is to the Gomerites or Atlanteans themselves that the discovery of America is mainly to be attributed.
And I'm not going to go into that. I know people might ask, oh, so are they the ones, so what about the lost city of Atlantis? I'm not going into that, no lost city. I don't got time to go into that.
The whole point is that the Javanese come from Javan, who come from Japheth.
Exactly. So during that time period, during the Greek Dark Ages, it's not called the Greek Dark Ages only. You have Israelites that inhabited some of those territories. Let's get 1 Maccabees chapter 12, verse 1. So remember, Israel numbers the sand of the sea, and we migrated to different land masses. Not all of Israel stayed within the land of Israel. I'll say it again. Not all of Israel stayed within that one landmass. Some of us migrated and went further into, like I said, some of the European territories. Some of the names, like I said, if you look at some of our early shows that Out Here to History, we went into the Scythians. We went into, what are some territories? Tartary, the Celts.
The
Gauls. So Israel inhabited all those regions, Ireland, all of that. So we migrated and and some of the names we actually named it. Or Iberian Peninsula,
Right.
in Spain,
Ireland.
So we took a lot of portions and we actually lived amongst Japheth at times. Let's go to Maccabees, 1 Maccabees chapter 12, verse 1.
The book of 1 Maccabees, chapter 12 and verse 1. Now when Jonathan saw that the time served him, he chose certain men and sent them to Rome, for to confirm and renew the friendship that they had with them. He sent letters also to the Lacedaemonians.
He sent letters also to the Lacedaemonians. Like I said, this been touched in the previous classes. Go on.
And to other places for the same purpose. So they went unto Rome and entered into the Senate and said, Jonathan the high priest and the people of the Jews sent us unto you to the end ye should renew the friendship which ye had with them and league.
So read that part again. 1 second. Read that part. What verse are you in?
Verse 3.
Verse 3. Read that again.
Verse 3. So they went unto Rome and entered into the Senate and said, Jonathan the high priest and the people of the Jews sent us unto you to the end ye should renew the friendship which ye had with them and league as in former time.
Go on.
Upon this the Romans gave them letters unto the governors of every place that they should bring them into the land of Judea peaceably. And this is the copy of the letters which Jonathan wrote to the Lacedaemonians. Jonathan, the high priest, and the elders of the nation, and the priests, and the other people of the Jews, unto the Lacedaemonians, their brethren, send greetings.
So unto the Lacedaemonians, their brethren send greetings. So who are the Lacedaemonians? If you look at the movie 300, they had an L on the shield.
Yep, right.
The Lacedaemonians are no other people than the Spartans, because you have the territory, or the Lacedaemonia, which is another Japhetic territory, another Japhetic father. Then you have Sparta. Sparta was a city within Macedon. I'm sorry, not Macedon. Sparta was a city within Lacedaemonia.
Right.
Today we call it Lycaonia. You see the L right there? So the L represents Lacedaemonians. The Lacedaemonians were the Spartans. The Lacedaemonians were our brethren. Let's get another. Let's get the book. Okay. Enlarge that. Yep.
This book is called The Hebrew Commonwealth. All right, 1800s. Says, Morin, in attempting to prove that there was a striking resemblance in the features of the Jews and Lacedaemonians, expresses his belief that the Danois are descendants of the tribe of Dan.
So they're saying that they're of the descendants of the tribe of Dan. So it says the Macedonians as well as the Lacedaemonians, the features of them as well as the Jews are similar. You know why? Because they are brethren. They're the same stock, the stock of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Now, like I said, they say they're from the tribe of Dan. And we just don't want to leave it at the tribe of Dan only.
Right.
Because some other, like I said, you have other authors will argue that not only was Dan over there, but Simeon too. Simeon and Manasseh as well as Ephraim. Because not only Dan migrated to Lacedaemonia or Lycaonia, what you know as today, but you had Ephraim as well as Manasseh was in Tartar. So we have a lot of these different regions, and we took on the names and titles of that location. So you might say that, oh, those are Japheth. No, those are Israelites that took on the landmass. Like, for example, you go to the New Testament, they call us what? The Lacedaemonians as well in the New Testament. They call us based upon the land that we acquired, that we inhabited. They call them what? The Ephesians, Ephesus. They call them the Corinth, based upon the land. So a lot of Israelites were in those territories. It's no different today, the slave trade. We're in India, we're in China, we're in Japan, but we go under, but you ask them, what's your nationality? They'll say, we're Indian.
Right.
You go to some Negroes in America, what's your nationality?
American.
I'm American. You go to Europe or France, what's your nationality? I'm French. So why is it that we look at it that this way, we call ourselves based upon the title of the landmass, but when we go back into ancient history, it's not the same thing.
Right. Exact same thing.
It's exactly the same thing. Just different time period. Same thought process, different time period, different clothing, attire. Now, let's get the next book.
Go to the other page first. There's a page before this.
That's kind of the same with Paul calling himself a Roman, but
Exactly.
he knew that I'm an Israelite from the tribe of Benjamin.
Right. All praise. The story of Dan. Let's jump down to the highlights. It is probable the Danites escaped during one or more of the many periods of invasion from which Israel suffered on account of her sins.
Remember, that's how a lot of the tribes spread further west into some of the European territories because of Assyria, Babylon.
Yes.
Even during Assyria captivity, you have a lot of Israelites migrated through the Indus region valley, going to India. It happened during so a lot of Israelites migrated during Assyria, Babylon, Persia. So all throughout history, when you had the different ruler empires rise up in power, Israel just didn't stay there and get conquered.
We running, man.
We ran, we fled, and we started inhabiting these different territories, and a lot of times we hid under those titles. Go on.
The means for escape were always at hand. Dan was a maritime power, possessing a fleet, Judges 5:17, and he often shared the adventures of the Phoenician sailors. The prophet Ezekiel gives us a hint in chapter 27, verse 19.
Let's get that. Ezekiel 27, verse 19.
The book of Ezekiel, chapter 27 and verse 19. Dan also and Javan.
Dan also and Javan. Who is Javan? The Greeks. I'll say it again. Who is Javan? The Greeks. So Dan also and Javan, read.
Going to and fro, occupied in their fairs.
And thy fairs. So Dan and Javan dwelt together. They worked together. They dealt in business together. Working together in thy fairs. Go on.
Brought iron, cassia, calamus, were in thy markets.
Because what? Javan was known to trade in the sea coast. I'll say it again. Javan was a seafaring people that trade amongst the sea coast. So Dan worked alongside with them because you don't really hear too much history on Dan throughout the scriptures.
Nothing.
You don't really hear Dan at all. Like I said, Dan, like if you look at the prophecy, Dan was absorbed into the tribes. But you don't really hear about Dan. A lot of the Danites, like I said, migrated, and they was into Greek mythology. They was going into Hercules. I mean, a lot of Dan
mythology, man.
Not only during the time period, like I said, of Jeroboam. Not Jeroboam. Yeah, Jeroboam. Jeroboam, thank you. Said Jeroboam. Sorry, Jeroboam. But Jeroboam, not only did Dan go off during that time period, he was one of the high priests that caused Israel to go off and sin. Because what? Remember, you had a golden calf in Dan.
Yeah. Right. It was sitting right there.
Sitting right there. So Dan always been known to go into idolatry. So Dan, during the Syrian captivity, when God brought the sins back to the remembrance was coming after for the sins, Dan decided to migrate and go even further to sin. But they was going as the Lacedaemonians or the Spartans. Go on.
Now, it says the prophet Ezekiel give us a hint in chapters 27, verse 19. Of his prophecy, he associates Dan with Javan. Now, Javan is the biblical word for Greece. This tribe, then after they had left Palestine, were connected in some way with Greece. And we have abundant evidence of a most reliable character that they took up their abode there. Go to the next page.
All right.
Let's get a couple more. The Phoenicians, another very important seafaring people, were the Danans, or Danai, who came from a point south of Phoenicia and took possession of the Greek Peloponnesus at a very earlier period.
So Peloponnesus is also Lycaonia. It's the same territory. Can you get the map? The Peloponnesian?
The Peloponnesus is all the Greek territories.
All Greece. Okay, Peloponnesia.
Oh, that's not an ordinary. We got to spell it for him.
Yeah.
Hey, go. Yeah, there you go. There you go. Peloponnese. Yep.
So, Peloponnesia. So, like I said, Lacedaemonia, or what you know, Sparta, Peloponnesia, is also Lycaonia today. So that whole territory.
That whole territory, yes.
All right, let's go back.
Which included Sparta.
Let's go back. Thank you.
All right, so it says they figured largely in the early days of Greek history and seem to have become exceedingly smart in maneuvers of maritime warfare. I'm gonna jump down. Who were these Danai? The name itself suggests the tribe of Dan. Professor Rawlinson said, identity of name, even alone, is an argument that requires to be met, and which, unless met by positive objections, establishes a presumption in favor of a connection of race. The following is the testimony of Latin in its Ethnology of Europe, page 157. I think that the eponymous of the Argive Danai was no other than the Israelite tribe of Dan.
So the same thing, that the Lacedaemonians or the Spartans were Dan, and not just Dan alone, like I said, were the northern kingdom of Israel. Now, get me 1 Maccabees chapter 14, verse 16. Then I'm with the next book after that, History of Sparta.
The book of 1 Maccabees, chapter 14 and verse 16. Now when it was heard at Rome, and as far as Sparta, that Jonathan was dead, they were very sorry.
They were what?
They were very sorry.
They were very sorry. As far as Spartan, they were very sorry. Go on.
But as soon as they heard that his brother Simon was made high priest in his stead, and ruled the country and the cities therein, they wrote unto him in tables of brass to renew the friendship and league which they had made with Judas and Jonathan his brethren, which writings were read before the congregation at Jerusalem. And this is the copy of the letters that the Lacedaemonians sent.
So it says, as far as Sparta, But this is the writings of the letters that the Lacedaemonians sent. So the Spartan and Lacedaemonians is one and the same. It's interchangeable. Like I said, Sparta is a city in Lacedaemonia. Go on.
The rulers of Lacedaemonians with the city unto Simon the high priest and the elders and priests and residue of the people of the Jews, our brethren, send greeting.
Our brethren send greeting. Even though a lot of the Northern Kingdom migrated to different territories further into Europe, even to the Americas, we still have the connection. Solomon, like I said, Enzian Geber, that was a fleet that we sent from that seaport all the way to the Americas. And like I said, it was then documented that we did trading with the Americans. So we knew about the Americas. We always knew that there was a land. Why do you think Ezra recorded it? That was common knowledge. It wasn't common to the rest of the world, but it was common to our people. We always had an affinity, or we kept the communication with each other. Thank you.
And notice when all of these settlements took place of all the territory that we went to, it all happened around the same time period, around 1100,
Yep.
850 BC.
Yep.
Okay, so it's no coincidence that we all around that same time period set sail and went to these different territories.
Yep, exactly. All right, let's get to the next book. Yep. So this is from Sparta. Let's get to the next page. Okay. We're going to start from the top, or we're going to go?
Go down to the bottom.
Get down to the bottom.
You can start up at where it says Herodotus. Right there. Herodotus gives us an interesting description of the constitutional power of the kings. The Spartians have given the kings the following privileges: 2 priesthoods of Zeus, Lacedaemon, and Heavenly Zeus, and to wage war against any country that they wish. And no Spartan is to prevent this. Otherwise, he is accursed. And when they go to war, the kings go first and return last. And 100 picked men guard them on a campaign.
That's always been a custom of Israel. The other nations don't do that anymore. You got the president that can barely walk up the steps, falling and go, steps.
Dementia.
The height of his day is walking up and down the steps. Yeah. Forget about making world decisions.
Falling up and down the
steps. Yeah, falling up and down the steps. Our fathers, David, always went first to the war. Judas always went first to the war. Our kings weren't cowards.
We were vanguards.
We were first in a battle. And it says, and the last to return home. Go on.
And 100 picked men guard them on campaign. And they use as many sheep as they wish on expedition. And they receive the skins and backs of all animals sacrificed. This in war and in peace, the following privileges are given to them. If there is any public sacrifice, the kings take the first seats at the dinner. Mm-hmm. And the servant begins with them. And they receive each portion double that of the other guests and everything. And they leave the libation. And they have the skins of the animals sacrificed. And at every new moon.
And wait, at every what?
New moon.
At every what?
New moon.
Get me Psalm chapter 81 verse 3. Every new moon. What people were given a new moon to celebrate? What nation? No one. So show me a time in history or Greek history, ancient Greek history, the Greeks keeping the laws of Moses or celebrating the new moon. It's not existent. Read that.
Psalm chapter 81 and verse 3. Blow up the trumpet in the new moon.
Read.
And the time appointed in our solemn feast day.
In our solemn feast day. The new moon were given only to the Israelites. Our solemn feast day. Read.
For this was a statute for Israel and a law of the God of Jacob.
This was a statute of Israel and a law of the God of Jacob. Read on.
This he ordained in Joseph for a testimony.
This he ordained in Joseph for a testimony. Joseph represented the northern kingdom. So not only, even though, like I said, a lot of the northern kingdoms did go off, and some of the laws were changed, like Jeroboam. I can't even say it. Jeroboam. Thank you. I'm getting Sesame Street tongue now. Jeroboam. He changed the ordinance to a lot of the customs, but like I said, Israel still kept a few of the laws. Even though he changed the dates, we still kept some of our customs. And that's shown when we brought it to the Americas. You see a lot of Gadites, Puerto Ricans, Mexicans. We kept a few customs and mixed into idolatry. So even though the Lacedaemonians or the Spartans that we know today, they was keeping, like I said, they was going into idolatry, going into the Greekish fashions, but they still kept some of the high holy days or some of the customs. Go on.
And 7th day of the month, each is given a perfect offering from the treasury of Apollo, and a measure of barley.
You see how they always mix it in? The 7th day of the month. So they always mix in idolatry with the laws. That's why Northern Kingdom went off. Or that's why the Syria was sent against Northern Kingdom first, because they constantly was caught up in idolatry. All right? Now let's get the next one, Sparta. How they looked.
Blow that up.
Dang.
Spartan reconsidered. The physical appearance of a Spartanman.
The physical appearance of a what?
A Spartanman.
Can you pull up the 300 white men that paid the white Europeans that played Leonidas and the Spartans?
Yo,
the 300?
Why is it that all the statues have the nose and the mouth
cut off?
Broken off.
Because they know that's a black nigga nose.
Yep. And
they know black people nose for anywhere. That's why they always got to cut off the nose.
Right.
White people got that parakeet, toucan sand looking nose.
Yep. And then all the statues that don't have it broken off, they're all white men.
Yeah, they're all white men.
Because
Because
if
go
you
go
go back to the picture, you see the dreads?
Yeah.
We
gonna
touch that.
We gonna touch that.
We're
gonna touch that. But you look at it. Look at that.
Oh, look at this guy right there.
Look
See
at
how
it.
his braids.
Where the braids at?
Stop it.
White
Stop the
string. White stringy hair. Brown stringy hair, shortcut.
Hey, if y'all can, do y'all know the comic book? You know the comic book, right? The 300 comic book by Frank. I don't know his last name.
You guys have it?
If you can pull that up,
It's called 300, I think.
have somebody on the side pull that up so you don't interfere.
Yep. And like, get the article.
Yeah, let's go into this, man. Go down.
Stop. Come on.
Yeah.
The physical appearance of Spartan men. Look at that armor. Look at the hair.
Yeah, he's not naked.
No, he's not naked.
Right. That's bad. They don't want
Look at the hair. Dreads.
They don't want y'all to know this.
They don't want you to know this.
All right, go down.
Go down.
Go all the way down. Go all the way down. Go all the way down. Hey, hold on. Let's get about the food. The food in the goji. Go up. Right here. Yes. So it says the modern observer should take careful note of the fact that if Spartans were apparently on average taller than other Greeks, they probably did not suffer from any real deprivation as children. Whatever short rations were common in the goji, they were not so short that growth was in any way impeded, since even if some youth may have been adept at theft, most would not have been. Go down, get the part where it talks about how little they ate. How little they ate. Go. All right, go all the way down. It's taking too long. Go all the way down about the hair.
So you're saying they portion their food.
They portion their food. They ate little.
So they're not like our people today. That
Nah.
just eat to the point that they're full.
No, sir. This it?
They had a lean physique, they said.
Yeah.
And you notice that's a common Mediterranean diet. When I went to Greece, I went to Athens, I went to Cyprus, I went to Turkey, I went to Santorini, I went to, what else did I go to? Athens as well. So I went to the different Greek islands, and one thing I noticed about Mediterranean food, or just food on that side of the world, they always eat in small portions, and it's healthier. So there's more greens than there is meat on the plate. And when I say that the foods and the meat, the diets was so small in portion, it's almost as if it was an appetizer. To the point I say, yo, they gave me the food. I said, yo, well, so where's dinner? They said, that's dinner. I said, no, it's an appetizer. I said, give me 4 of those. I went to the pizza shop. They gave me the pizza. It was all the pizzas are thin crust. Yeah. The pasta, they make it from scratch. So you order pasta, they make it then and there. They get the dough and all that. So you got to wait some time. The cheese, everything's fresh. Wow. So the diet, and there's no fat people there's no fat people in Greece. Not one on the Mediterranean diet. The only fat person was a fat white man. And I know he's from America. Yeah. He was definitely from America. He was just sort them that stood out of all Greece because their diet is a lot different on that side of the world.
Wait, so Cal, you could tell American from anywhere.
Bro,
across
I knew that, bro. I didn't know what I know now. And I already pointed out. I said he has to be American. And it's funny. I will say this. Some of the Greek women out there have some of the attributes of some Northern Kingdom. I will say that. What I did notice when I was in Greece, some of them look like Northern Kingdom women. Let's put it out there. And some of them also, even in Spain, some of the women look like Northern Kingdom women. So you never know.
We are everywhere.
We're everywhere. I know Northern Kingdom mixed in with them, but you never know at the same time. All right, you got that?
Hey, yeah, go back to the page.
Let's go to the page.
Go back to the page. Yeah, the article. All right, here. It says both Plutarch. We're going to read this, and then we're going to jump down to the hair. Both Plutarch and, more importantly, Xenophon stressed that Spartan youth during the critical years of physical development and growth were not allowed to eat too much. Xenophon speaks of just the right amount for them never to become sluggish through being too full, while also giving them a taste of what it is not to have enough. Lycurgus' view was that boys under this kind of regime would be better able, when required, to work hard without eating, as well as to make the same rations last longer.
So you're seeing a well-trained diet to adapt in any type of circumstance, whether you have enough food,
Yes.
don't overeat, or if you have a little food, to eat in moderation. So they're practicing eating in moderation. The same thing with coming back. Think about it. When you approach hard times, you understand that you got to rationalize. You can't eat as much. You got to have the energy, the drive. Or if there's a lack of food source, you got to know how to ration and portion it. Portion control. So you train you for any circumstance, any situation, to work hard in hunger. Because the problem within America, we're so comfortable. When we face hard times, we're not going to be able to fully function. That's why today we have Captain Shem leading the charge in terms of food portioning your diet, eating 1 meal a day. What do they call that?
Intermittent fasting.
Intermittent fasting. Eating 1 meal a day, and you notice that when you eat 1 meal a day, you don't really need as much as you think.
You don't.
A little sufficient for a man well nourished. Like, I only eat 1 meal a day at times. Like, sometimes,
Yeah.
But most of the time, I eat 1 meal a day. But as I've been doing it, my stomach shrank. So when I do eat, I don't need eat as much. When you go to France, when you go to Italy, these European countries, the same thing over there. They don't eat as much because they allow themselves to portion or shrink their stomach, so you don't need a lot. It's only in America we're taught to overindulge. When the Europeans came over this side of the world, they ate enough meat or ox for 10 people in the family.
Yeah, it's not a coincidence when Columbus and his men came over here that one man ate enough food to feed an entire native family for a month.
It's crazy.
Just fat.
Yeah,
Just
just eating everything.
And we learned that habits. And that's why we walk around overweight, sluggish, slothful, lazy, and fat. Unhealthy. That was never part of our diet. You go to Africa, strong, lean, energetic.
Yeah.
Let me tell you something. We're traveling through Sierra Leone. I saw a man on a bicycle, the back of a bicycle. You're not going to believe what I'm about to tell you.
Yeah, I believe you.
No, I don't think you. No.
Bring it out, Cat.
I'm serious. I don't think it's real. You saw a man.
The same thing you said it happened in Haiti. I know you're going to say you probably carrying a house.
Yo, y'all didn't know what's going on. I thought he was on drugs or something. Like, he's like, crackheads have that superhero strength.
Yeah.
My man was on the back of a bicycle. He wasn't riding a bike. He was on the back of the bicycle.
Yeah.
You know what he was doing?
Carrying
You
a
know
house.
what he was doing?
Refrigerator.
He was carrying a refrigerator
What?
on his back.
I believe him.
He was carrying a refrigerator
I
on his
believe
back.
it.
I said, bruh.
Yeah.
Hey, wait. And what made it worse?
It wasn't a mini fridge, right?
No.
It was a regular refrigerator.
refrigerator.
Oh,
Wait, what made? He was like this. What made it worse?
That's a, you
Wait. Here goes. What made it worse? I looked at him. He did this.
What's up?
He turned.
He turned and looked at me.
Damn.
Then I saw another guy on a motorcycle carrying a stove. I said, "Good Lord."
Nah, come on, Cat.
No, I'm not, bro.
Come on,
That's what I
man.
told you. You're not gonna believe me.
That happens.
Come
I believe
on,
you.
man.
Yeah.
I believe you.
There's another video of Jake carrying. I think it's in Africa, lifting an engine out of the car with his own hand. I'll say it again. And they were saying that they don't got this type of tools to be able to lift the engine up, and they lift it with their hand. My man, he's lean. He wasn't thick. He didn't go to the gym. He was just lean just from hard work, daily manual labor. He lifted up with his two hands. I said, how's that possible?
And one thing to cap, they don't eat the garbage that
No, we don't.
over here. They eat natural food, no
Yep.
GMOs, no pesticide, none of that crazy stuff.
Hey, it's no coincidence that the slaves that were coming, that when we was coming over here, Esau preferred brute strength the brute strength that we had, that kept them bringing out over in Africa. They preferred us with that same brute strength to clear land, to cut down trees. So they knew that we were strong as hell over there. They knew who to get. All right.
Exactly.
That's why you see, like, those people don't really get sick as much as we do.
No, they don't.
Like, I went to Haiti. I was like, there, people in mad poverty. You know?
But they're
It's
a lot
like-
healthier than us.
It was like healthier, yeah.
Hey, you could jump down to the hair. Go all the way down. I don't want to stay too long on this. All right, go down. You went too far. Bro, come on, man. Go back.
Go back.
To
Let's
the
go.
end.
Come on. Let's go. Go. Wrong way. Wrong way. Go down. Come on. Come on.
Oh man, I think green looks.
Oh, Lord.
Is there any more here, bro? Come on. Come up.
Can we get a different scroller?
Go up. Right here. To the paragraph. The
Locks.
next paragraph up.
Go up a little bit.
Right there.
Thank you.
Herodotus, for example, makes a great point of how the Spartans groomed themselves before Thermopylae. And no one would be tempted to stress the beauty of Spartans as Plutarch does if they had been repugnant for their lack of grooming and hygiene.
And that's why when brothers come into the school, we always tell them, the bishop, for the deacons, all of them, the captains, we always stretch hygiene, taking care of grooming and taking care of your parents, making sure you're presentable in your representation of the nation. Go on. Think about it. We're ambassador of Christ. So we gotta appear the way. Go on.
More important, a statue fragment found in the heart of Sparta and dating from the early 5th century, commonly or affectionately referred to as Leonidas, shows a man with a clipped beard and neat hair. Earlier archaic artwork unanimously shows men with short beards and long but very neat locks of hair.
Short men with short beards and long but very neat with what?
Very neat locks of hair.
With locks of what?
Hair.
You know what I want? Give me the Song of Solomon. Read that.
Yes, sir. Song of Solomon, chapter 5.
Verse 10.
Sorry. Chapter 5 and verse 10. My beloved is white and ruddy, the chiefest among...
No, get with the locks. What is that? Song of Solomon 5?
11.
Song 11, verse 11.
Come on. Go on.
Verse 11. His head is as the most fine gold. His locks...
His what?
His locks...
His locks, read,
are bushy.
are bushy. Get Song of Solomon, verse 1.
Song of Solomon, chapter 1 and verse 1. The Song of Songs, which is Solomon's.
So the Song of Songs, which is Solomon's, verse 5.
Verse 5. I am black.
Well, he said what?
I am black.
Solomon was black. He was a so-called black man. He was a Jew. And his locks were bushy. So the Lacedaemonians, the Spartans, Leonidas, and the Israelites over there had locks, bushy hair, black people hair. Get me Judges chapter 16, verse 13.
The book of Judges, chapter 16 and verse 13. And Delilah said unto Samson, hitherto thou hast mocked me, and told me lies. Tell me wherewith thou mightest be bound. And he said unto her, if thou weavest the 7 locks of my head.
If you weavest the 7 locks on my head. He had 7 locks. So think about it. He had what do they call, cornrows type of thing?
Dookie braids.
Called dookie braids, like my man over there. Officer shot, he got the dookie braids on. He got how many locks? He got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. He got 7, right? Going on. Damn. Let's go back. He might have been a Spartan.
Oh, hey.
Go on.
In addition to these sources,
He got the short beard.
the admittedly dubious Plutarch claims Spartan men took particular care of their hair, especially in the face of danger, and refers to an alleged quote from Lycurgus that long hair was preferred because it rendered a handsome man better looking and an ugly one more frightening. Whether the locks depicted in ancient sculpture were in fact braided or plaited, it's not possible to tell from the stylized nature of the
He
evidence.
said, so whether it's braided or plaited, they can't tell the difference. But what people, for them to even mention the fact that the hair, it's hard to tell if it was braided or plaited, know that you're talking about only black people. Yeah. Because think about it. Only black people wear braids or Latino people wear braids. Africans don't even wear braids. Right. Because their hair only grows up to a certain point and it's always like peasy, like small little piecey hair. Our hair is more woolly, full, luscious, bushy. Right. If you look at the difference between the two. I just me personally, I haven't really seen a real Hamite grow a fro. I haven't seen it.
You ain't gonna see that.
I never seen it. They always have short, peasy hair. Go on.
I'm gonna jump down to the last paragraph. Braiding has the added advantage of being something that can be done quickly and alone if necessary, or done elaborately with help. Thus, it could have been a means for men to express individual taste and personality within the rigid limits of the Spartan prohibition against displaying wealth in dress or personal ornament. I personally like to think of conservative, old-fashioned men just braiding their hair to keep it out of their faces, while the dandies of Spartan society creatively braided their hair at diagonals or in crossing patterns, as in Africa today.
As in what? As in Africa today. Israelites in Africa today. As in Africa today. Go on.
This gave a man a great deal of freedom for individual expression, all without breaking any taboos about the use of jewelry or other ornaments.
So the things we do today is no different from the things we did yesterday. We're living the same history all over again. The same people repeating the same things all over again. So now.
They got the pics.
We got the pics? Oh, yes. So let's bring that up. 300.
Frank Miller, that's his name. Okay.
Can you zoom in on it?
Yeah, usually the Hamites say shave all their hair.
Yeah.
They don't really keep their hair.
Hey, look at that. The locks. Braids. Strong. Israelites.
There you go.
With the L. Lacedaemonians.
Now, as a lot of sources say, they're from the tribe of Dan. We, like Cap said, we also have sources that say tribe of Simeon, but we generalize it. We don't want to stick with just one tribe or two tribes. We want to say, like, look, it was definitely Northern Kingdom, and I say remnants of Southern Kingdom also that probably migrated also. All right.
Okay. All right. All right. So now we're gonna move forward in a chronology of time. Like I said, from the time period of Japheth and the Greek Dark Ages, leading all the way to 1150, you have Israelites that lived in those territories like Lacedaemonia, as well as Sparta, Peloponnesian Islands, or what is called today as Lycaonia. So now, in addition, you have, as you go further into the chronology, think about it, we're tracking the footsteps of Esau and how he infiltrated and took and appropriated different cultures and became them. So we know Esau's footsteps. When the scripture says how things of Esau are hidden, it's not hidden anymore. The seals have been unleashed. The Most High has given us the understanding to reveal this devil, and we're revealing the wicked in our Hidden History radio show.
That's right.
This is the one place that you're going to find us. You're not going to find us anywhere else on earth. You're not going to find this in your college institutions. You're not going to hear this in your churches. Your governor's not going to speak about this. Then the librarians is not going to show you the books about this. Right. They're not going to have this in the African-American Negro history section. It will only be seen or shown on our Hidden History. Let that be a fact. It'll only come for the Israelites and no other but the Israelites. We are scholars. We are biblical scholars. We are archaeologists. We are ethnologists. We're everything that they're not. So if you want to come and watch our Hidden History. Bring it up. Now, let's go on. So after that, you have in about 606. So now we're tracing the migration of Esau. So now, give me Genesis chapter 25, verse 12. So you have what is called, after Esau used to live in Petra, or Basra, the ancient city. If you give me that real quick, Isaiah 63 talks about that.
The book of Isaiah, chapter 63 and verse 1. Who is this that cometh from Edom?
So this is future prophecy of Christ that's standing on America. So who is this that coming from Edom? Read.
With dyed garments from Basra.
So Basra was one of the ancient capital cities of what do you know today as Petra. Petra later on was called it by the Arabs, or what we know as the Nabatians. So that's all I wanted that. Let's go. Yep. So let's start at Genesis chapter 25, verse 12 real quick.
The book of Genesis, chapter 25 and verse 12.
And this is going to kill the doctrine saying that the Nabatians, now, like I said, there's different arguments in history. I'm not going to go too deep into it. But after Esau left or migrated outside of the land of Petra or Basra or Edom, Idumea, into southern Palestine, what you're going to see is the Nabatians took over and inhabited that territory. The doctrine today is not only is the so-called white man Japheth, but Esau, I'll say it again, The doctrine today is that Esau, I don't think you heard me. The doctrine today is that Esau is the Arabs.
Bruh.
And this is what happens when you don't know biblical history or world history in general. You got to trace the footsteps of Esau. He left his records, his writings for us to trace it back to his descent. And the information we're going to reveal is going to blow your mind, Israel.
Ready.
Genesis 25, verse 12.
The book of Genesis, chapter 25 and verse 12. Now these are the generations of Ishmael, Abraham's son, whom Hagar the Egyptian, Sarah's handmaid, bare unto Abraham. And these are the names of the sons of Ishmael, by their names, according to their generations. The firstborn of Ishmael, Nebajoth, and Kedar, and Adbeel, and Absalom.
So that's the name I want. Nebajoth. Get me 1 Chronicles chapter 1, verse 29. So keep that name in mind. Ishmael, remember, Ishmael is the father of all Arabs. So one of the sons of Ishmael was Nebajoth.
The book of 1 Chronicles, chapter 1 and verse 29. These are their generations. The firstborn of Ishmael, Nebaioth, then Kedar, then
So the firstborn of Ishmael's Nebaioth or Nebajoth. Same name. Get me 1 Maccabees chapter 5, verse 24. No, actually, no. Now give me the book. The Antiquities of the Jews. Go to the bottom. It says, when the lad.
When the lad was grown up, he married a wife, by birth an Egyptian, from whence the mother was herself derived originally. Of this wife were born to Ishmael 12 sons, Naboth,
Go on.
Kedar, Abdiel, Mazim, Idumas, Masmius, Masas, Kodad, Theman, Jatar, Nephias, and Cadmus. These inhabited all the country from Euphrates to the Red Sea and called it Nabatian.
And they called it what?
Nabatian.
They called it Nabatian. The Nabatinians. Arabs. Go on. Next page.
They are an Arabian nation and named their tribes from these, both because of their own virtue and because of the dignity of Abraham, their father.
So they called it after the tribes, their names after the tribes. So these were the Nabateans, or Nabaoth. Now let's get to the next one.
During the flourishing state of the Assyrian and Babylonian empires, which put a period to the kingdoms of Israel and Judah, the wild freebooters of Edom remained either entirely independent or acknowledged a temporary alliance with their enemies. When Babylon fell before the arms of Cyrus, and when Cambyses and Darius led their armies to the west or the north, these conquerors found it necessary to keep up a friendly understanding with the tribes of the desert.
So the conquerors is going to Esau. Read.
In order to obtain a passage through their territories and supplies of water and provisions for their armies. Herodotus informs us that on this account, they were exempted from paying tribute, while the neighboring provinces were heavily taxed. When the Jews were in captivity at Babylon, the Edomites conquered the southern part of Palestine.
So I'll say it again. When the Jews were in captivity during Babylon, the what?
The Jews were in captivity at Babylon. The Edomites conquered the southern part of Palestine.
The Edomites conquered the southern Palestine. Babylon captivity under Nebuchadnezzar was in 606 BC. I'm showing you the timeline and when Esau started migrating into the different coasts or the west to Italy to all of Europe. I'm showing you the descent or the ascent, I mean. Go on.
And seized the city of Hebron.
So Esau, during the captivity of Judah, seized southern Palestine and took the city Hebron. Go on.
After this, the name of Idumeans was given to those who occupied the frontiers of Palestine, while these who remained in Petra were called Nabateans.
Now these that remain in Petra were called Nabateans, meaning the Arabs remain in Petra. So Esau waited for the Jews, and we're going to show you that. They waited for Israel to fall because Israel, we had them on lock. They couldn't pass our territory to do our conquest. They had to wait. They always waited us out They understood. They understood when we broke God's laws. All the other nations understood when we broke God's laws. That's when we come and rise up against them. And this shall be the demise. So Esau waited us out for the judgments to come against us. That's when Esau started making his move. Prior to that, Esau was relegated to Petra, or what you know as Basra, or the land of Edom, or Seir. He couldn't move. Under King David, we had under subjection. Under Joab, we chased him.
Right.
So Israel had Esau on lock until we started breaking God's laws. Our power was taken from us. Go on. So the Nabatians?
So the Nabatians, as some think, from Naboth, a son of Ishmael.
So the Nabatians, some think from Naboth, a son of Ishmael. So the reason why, so the doctrine is that the so-called, that the Arabs today are Edomites. But they just told you that they're not Edomites. The Arabs are descended from Ishmael. Right. Now the Nabatians that inhabited Petra, they called it Petra later on, which was the ancient city of Basra and Seir. So that was actually Ishmael inhabited. Ishmael took over that territory as Esau started to migrate at 606 BC. I'm showing you the timeline when they first started to make the move out of Edom and started acquiring all the different nations' identities. Now, more about the Nabatians. So this is not the first encounter that we had with them. If you go to Maccabees, get me 1 Maccabees, chapter 5, verse 24.
The book of 1 Maccabees, chapter 5 and verse 24. Judas Maccabeus also and his brother Jonathan went over Jordan and traveled 3 days' journey in the wilderness, where they met with the Nabathites.
The Nabathites, also the Nabatians or the Nabath, Ishmael's descendants. Go on.
Who came unto them in a peaceable manner and told them everything that had happened to their brethren.
You see, it's showing that they weren't descendants. Everything that had happened to their brethren. Read.
In the land of Galaad, and how that many of them were shut up in Basra, and Basor, and Alama, and Casphor, and Maked, and Carnarim. All these cities are strong and great.
So now get me 1 Maccabees chapter 9, verse 35.
1 Maccabees chapter 9, verse 35. Now Jonathan had sent his brother John, a captain of the people, to pray his friends, the Nabathites.
To pray his friends. So Jonathan and Judas had affinity. They had a liking, a friendship between the Nabathites. Go on.
That they might leave with them their carriage, which was much. But the children of the Jambri came out of Magabah.
That's it. That's all I wanted. That's all I want. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
So now, after the fall, like I said, of Palestine, when Esau inhabited that territory in Idumea, that's when they say Esau ceased to be a state. If you look at some of the scholars, some of the world scholars, they say that Esau just disappeared from world history. Some of them tried to use Obadiah, said there should be none left of Esau. That's the doctrine that's going around today. It's not so much the fact that there should be none left of Esau, it's the fact that Esau was able to erase his history from world history and hide himself.
And assume others' identity.
Exactly. Now, the Arabs are Esau. But the scriptures talk about Esau being the end of the world. Just based on that fact, you got to ask yourself a question. Who's ruling today?
Right.
Who has the world on a global net? Who controls the financial industries? Who controls the banking industry? Who controls the import as well as the export to the resources? If you have the Arabs have money, they have wealth, they have oil, but guess what? They have to trade on what? The dollar. It's called the petrodollar.
And one more thing, Cap.
Yeah.
Who's traveling in space?
Who's traveling in space? Who has the science, the technology? Who has the resource, the machinery? Who owns the most nuclear capability?
The clues are there.
The clues are there. They control who has the Navy bases set up, the most Navy bases set up all throughout the world. Were you about to say?
Who's red?
Who's red? Exactly.
And hairy.
And hairy. So the details are in the writing. So all you got to do is trace their steps, and you can find them because they leave crumbs wherever they go. You just got to take your time with them. Now, get me the Wikipedia with Edom. Show you what a lot of scholars say that Esau ceased or Edom ceased to be a state. You got it? All right, go down a little bit. All the way to archaeology, I think. You need to read that.
What part we want, Cap?
I'll start at the top.
Archaeology. The Edomites may have been connected with the Shasu and Shatu, nomadic raiders mentioned in Egyptian sources. Indeed, a letter from an Egyptian scribe at a border fortress in the Wadi Tumalat during the reign of Manapata reports movement of nomadic Shasu tribes of Edom to watering holes in Egyptian territory. The earliest Iron Age settlements, possibly copper mining camps, date to the 11th century BC. Settlement intensified by the late 8th century BC, and the main sites so far excavated have been dated between the 8th and 6th centuries BC. The last unambiguous reference to Edom is an Assyrian inscription of 667 BC.
The what? The last what?
The last unambiguous reference to Edom is an Assyrian inscription of 667 BC. Edom ceased to exist as a state when it became conquered by Nabatian in the 6th century BC.
So this says Esau ceased to be a state. But that's not what we read earlier. We didn't just read that. It says Esau conquered Palestine, the southern Palestine, as well as Hebron. So they didn't cease to be a state. They just migrated outside of Edom. Go on.
Edom is mentioned in Assyrian cuneiform inscription in the form Udamu. 3 of its kings are known from the same source. Kaz Malaka at the time of Tiglath-Pileser III, Malik Ramu at the time of Sennacherib, 705 BC, and Kaz Gabri at the time of Asardan, 680 BC. According to the Egyptian inscriptions, the Aduma at times extended their possessions to the borders of Egypt. After the conquest of Judah by the Babylonians, Edomites settled in the region of Hebron.
So it says Edom ceased to be a state. That landmass that they inhabited, they just migrated. Because why? They was always waiting for the downfall of Israel to make their move. They understood that Esau couldn't move out of their territory. Because think about it. If you get a map of Edom real quick, get a map of Edom. In order for Esau to get to Kittim, to get to Etruscan, they had to go through what? Look. Yeah, enlarge it. Yep. Click the map. Look what Esau got to go through. They're surrounded. So they had to wait in order for them to migrate. Remember, we're talking about the Babylonian captivity. The Assyrians already took Northern Kingdom out. So that territory is replaced with the other nations, the Northern Kingdom territories. So all that is left for Esau in order to pass through is Judah. They couldn't get through the kingdom of Judah territory until the Babylonian Empire came into power. I'll say it again. The Assyrian captivity, Esau always kept tabs on us in terms of our whereabouts and movements. Esau had to wait. They're very patient.
Yes,
I'll say it again.
Yes, they are.
They're very, very patient and calculative on their moves. They just don't move like black people.
Nah.
They will wait you out for centuries. When they do things 10 steps ahead of us. Esau waited us out. They waited for Assyrian captivity to come and conquer the northern kingdom, move them fully out the land. Then after that, they waited for the southern kingdom or Babylon to conquer them. Then that's when Esau decided to make the move outside of Edom, or we know as Basra or Petra. And they conquered Palestine as well as Hebron. Now, Esau could make their move and conquer it in a conquest.
And Cap, that's why when you read about Psalm, they was trying to block us when we was running away from the Babylonians.
But say it again?
They were saying when they were telling the Babylonians to destroy us.
Oh, yeah, yep.
Psalms 107, I think.
Yes, sir. We're going to get right into that.
What you would notice about Esau, their moves are very systematic and calculative. All right, like Cap said, they're very patient, and this patience, it's not a year, it's not 2 years. It ain't Esau will wait 100 years before they make their moves. All right, as a nation.
And you think that they just say, "Oh, the Babylonians conquering them, let's all just move up"? No, they were waiting, and they were prepared to move at an instant.
Hey, Cap. That's even what the Edomite Hadad did. He said he didn't leave Egypt until he found out David was dead.
Exactly.
Yes,
Very good
yeah,
point.
yeah,
Excellent
very
point.
good
You're right. Excellent point.
Hey, and also when we bring it up to the Spanish Inquisition, when we was ruling Spain, when we remember in the previous episodes when we pushed Edom all the way to the mountains, it was only like 10 of them. But they waited it out and they started growing and growing and increasing, and then they waited to make they move very, very patient. Very patient.
Yep. Read on.
It says they prosper in this new country called by the Greeks and Romans Idumea or Idumea for more than 4 centuries. Strabo, writing around the time of Jesus, held that the Idumeans, whom he identified as the Nabatian origin, constituted the majority of the population of Western Judea.
See what they just did? Read it again.
It says Strabo, writing around the time of Jesus, held that the Idumeans,
Held that the Idumeans
whom he identified as of Nabatian
That's
origin.
the doctrine. That's when the Strabo. Click highlight over Strabo. I'm showing you what they do. I'm showing you how Esau hides their history. They create doctrines and create confusion so that you can never trace their steps as they move into the next place. And by the time you catch up to them, they already assume somebody else's identity. I don't think you understand.
They're like chameleons.
They're chameleons. They're wiser than Daniel. That's why Christ got to take this guy out. So Strabo.
Strabo, Greek, was a Greek geographer, philosopher, and historian who lived in Asia Minor during the transitional period of the Roman Republic into the Roman Empire.
The Roman Republic to the Roman Empire. So Strabo was an Edomite. So what did Strabo do concerning the Idumeans? Read it again.
Go back.
Strabo,
writing around the time of Jesus, held that the Idumeans, whom he identified as the Nabatian origin.
He says the Idumeans, he identified as the Nabatian origins. Go on.
Constituted the majority of the population of Western Judea.
So now, look, highlight over Nabateans. He says Strabo says the Idumeans. Where's that? Okay. No. I want you to go over, not highlight it, sorry. Hover over Nabatian origin. Read that.
The Nabateans or the Nabateans were an ancient Arab people who inhabited northern Arabia and the southern Levant.
Now, what does Strabo do?
Strabo writings.
Strabo's the devil of the Bible, so he knows he's an Idumean.
Yeah.
Go on.
Around the time of Jesus, held that the Idumeans, whom he identified as of
That the
Nabatian,
Idumeans, the Edomites, he identifies the what?
as of Nabatian
He's the
origin.
one that put the doctrine of the Arabs on them. He's the one that changed the doctrine and says Esau descends from the Nabatians that inhabited Petra. So what happens? The Arabs or the Nabatians took Petra, which was the Edomite state. Basra, Petra, took their land, the structure, all of that. So now Strabo says, you know what? We're going to change the Idumean origins into the Nabatians. So that's where you get the doctrine that the Arabs are Esau today. Not knowing that Strabo's the one that caused all that confusion and changed history.
So Kat, Esau has their writers to change their history.
Yep.
So once they do what they do, now they go to the men with some type of intellect and start changing things up. So you can't even catch up to them.
Exactly.
We'll start noticing that all the confusion starts at the Greek and Roman captivity.
Yep.
Yes.
When they say is the beginning of their civilization. That's what they teach in our
Yeah,
history
that's
today.
what they teach in history
So they
class.
go
That's what
back
they
to
teach.
those writers
Yeah.
who went and skewed all the history to
Right.
hide who they really are.
Exactly. Hey, so what we're going to do is we're going to take a small break and we're going to go further into the migration of Esau with Japheth.
And it shall come to pass in that day that the Lord shall set his hand again, the second time, to recover the remnant of his people.
It's you who don't know. It's you Afro-Syrians who don't know your history.
And going to the other side of India, you see the Dalits as well as the Siddhis. Same thing on the Eastern Hemisphere. Mass incarceration, police brutality, lynchings, convict leasings. You have
Brothers and sisters in South Sudan, your heritage goes far deeper than where you live. You are the children of God.
Ein Herz, das arge Ränke. Was sind
Laat je niet misleiden, dat is filosofie van
Shalom, this is Bishop Nathaniel of Israel United in Christ. I have an important message about your leaders in the Christian church. Your bishops, pastors, reverends, and ministers are all lying to you and leading you straight to damnation. The truth is, you so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans are the biblical Israelites, according to Deuteronomy chapter 28. Jesus Christ is a black man with white wool hair, according to Revelation chapter 1. Verses 14 and 15. We as the Israelites must keep the commandments in the faith of Christ to receive salvation, as it is written in Revelation chapter 14, verse 12. I've challenged and debated Christian authorities all over the world on these issues. Not one of them has been able to negate this truth. Your pastors have led you astray, worshiping pagan holidays and false gods, just as in the days of old. So join us on our mission to restore the true nation of Israel before the decree goes forth. The work is plentiful, but the laborers are few. Visit our website at israelunite.org or call us at 855-484-4842 to learn more and visit our schools. Shalom.
Shalom, Most High in Christ, bless you all. I'm Bishop Nathaniel of Israel United in Christ. Some time ago, many of you saw us at the Barclays Center, standing for what the Bible says, standing for truth, standing for righteousness. That's what we do. Most recently, the Jewish community, in particular the ADL, SPLC, have voiced their opinion that black people do not have freedom of speech nor freedom of religion to say they're Semitic. Neither to say that they're Jews of the tribe of Judah, belonging to the 12 tribes of Israel, which is according to 1 Kings chapter 8, verse 46 to 53. And unless we apologize and submit ourselves to these people's will, we have no place in society. Brothers and sisters, this is nothing but disguised racism from the 1400s, 1500s, 1600s, 1700s, 1800s. This it got to stop. They follow the legacy of director J. Edgar Hoover, who said the worst thing to the United States of America is Negro unity. I think that's exactly how he said it. Black unity is a fear to the Jewish community. I wonder why. Black unity is a fear to white society. I wonder why. Is it white guilt? I don't know. But we can delve into the Bible and possibly we can all find out together. J. Edgar Hoover established COINTELPRO. He forbid the rise of a black messiah. He forbid any type of black community. Y'all saw what happened to Black Wall Street when we got together. They bombed us. And this is why I understand why many of you black men and black women don't stand up for one another. A lot of you are afraid. You are scared. But this group right here, we ain't afraid of nothing, all right? I want y'all to understand that. All the great black leaders that have risen up, J. Edgar Hoover had a hand in their demise. From Marcus Garvey, Malcolm X, Martin Luther King. After them, Fred Hampton, Khalid Muhammad, Johnny Cock, even Hugo Chavez, who tried to help the black community. Always somebody was exiled or assassinated. None of y'all see nothing wrong with that? Y'all keep playing these people's game. Israel United in Christ is a Bible-based organization that teaches that blacks, Latinos, and Native American Indians are part of the true 12 tribes of Israel. When you read Deuteronomy 28, verse 15 through 68, we change lives, brothers and sisters, transforming boys into men, into husbands, girls into women, into wives, into mothers. That's what we do. Family is the core of any strong people. Like Marcus Garvey said, up you mighty race, up you mighty race. God's commandments is the backbone of our holy people. That keeps us organized, that keeps us strong, that keeps us focused. Today they call talk like what I'm talking, hate speech. Sure, you can rap and jigaboo around the stage and talk about drugs, murder, child molestation even. That's fine. But the second you talk about black unity, black family, black love, hate speech, anti-Semitic. None of y'all see this. I know I'm expecting too much from you athletes, too much from you actors. Really shouldn't expect too much from you at all. But the average black man, the average brothers and sisters like myself, it's time for you and I to organize, get ourselves together, repent of our sins, and do according to the word of God as the Israelites. To say that we are the Israelites today or read a quote from the Bible that was written over 2,000 years ago, they call it anti-Semitism. Christianity is not a threat to society. Islam is not a threat to society. But to say that you're an Israelite, to wake up to your true identity, that's a threat. Whoa, whoa, whoa. And everybody plays victim. While we were at the Barclays Center, a so-called Jewish girl walked up. Do you want to hurt Jewish people? Are you kidding me? Do you go to acting school to make believe that you're always a victim of something? We're marching. We're walking. You run to us and ask us, do we want to hurt you, and start crying? Are you kidding me? This BS, this malarkey has to stop. Always playing the victim. I'm a victim, but I run society. Stop it. Foolishness, total foolishness, all right? Brothers, sisters, we must unite as a people. We must come together as the 12 tribes of Israel. When you read Zephaniah chapter 2, verse 1, and it reads, gather yourselves together, yea, gather together, O nation not desired. See, you've never seen that. You've never seen black people organized like you've seen us. But understand this, you are that nation that no one desires. They want to use you. They want to marginalize you. They want to abuse you. They want you to entertain them. But the second you talk about coming together with each other in love, according to the word of God, like 2 John verse 6 says, this is love, that we keep the commandments.
Hey, welcome back, Israel. Welcome back. All right, so we just dropped the bomb on you. We just show you the doctrines on how the Arabs became the Idumeans or Esau today. It was by the scholar known as Strabo. So Strabo is the one that changed history. As you notice, every time, whether it's Manetho, Strabo, Sir Arthur Evans did the same thing with the Minoans. He's the one that gave King Minos the civilization or rule over all the Euganean Sea or Japhetic civilization. He's the one that changed history to hide their ancestors. Because why Esau later on took on the customs or took on the identity of Japheth. But like I said, we showed you from weeks ago. Go back to our previous class as we begin this series of Japheth, of Alexander, as well as Philip of Macedonian. Esau are becoming Japheth. So they're really Idumeans. And we're just getting into it. We're just warming you up. So now let's really get into our class. Go first Ezra chapter 4, verse 45.
First Ezra chapter 4 and verse 45. Thou also hast vowed to build up the temple, which the Edomites burned when Judea was made desolate by the Chaldees.
So 606 BC, when Nebuchadnezzar came and conquered Jerusalem, took Judah, decimated our land, Esau decided to migrate and make his move. That's when he conquered Palestine, as well as southern Palestine, as well as Hebron. And he helped Babylon in destroying us. What did he do again? Read.
Thou hast also vowed to build up the temple, which the Edomites burned when Judea was made desolate by the Chaldees.
Which the Edomites burned when Nebuchadnezzar came and desolate by the Chaldees, made desolate by Babylon. Give me Obadiah Give me Obadiah verse 11.
Yes, sir. The book of Obadiah, verse 11. And the day that thou stoodest on the other side, and the day that the strangers carried away captives his forces.
Start at verse 1.
Verse 1. The vision of Obadiah, Thus saith the Lord God concerning Edom.
So the vision of Obadiah concerning Edom, Esau, the Idumeans. Now jump to verse 11.
Verse 11. In the day thou stoodest on the other side.
Start at verse 10.
Verse 10. For thy violence against thy brother Jacob, shame shall cover thee, and thou shalt be cut off forever.
And thou shalt be cut off, because Esau decide when Babylon, Nebuchadnezzar, came against us in Jerusalem, he burned our temple. He assisted the Babylonians and took some of us into captivity. Go on.
In the day that thou stoodest on the other side, in the day that the strangers carried away captives his forces.
When the day that the Babylonians carried away captive our riches, our gold, our wealth. Go on.
And foreigners entered into his gates.
Foreigners enter into our gates. Read.
And cast lots upon Jerusalem.
They enter our gates because why? They burned down our gates. That's why in the Persian captivity, you had Nehemiah had to build up the walls. And Zerubbabel and Joshua had to build up the temple because the Babylonians, assisted by the Edomites, burned down it. Go on.
Even thou was as one of them.
God says, you, Esau, you're supposed to be Jacob's brother, but even thou was one of them. You went in agreement with them. You waited them out. And once you saw the destruction, you participated in it. Don't think I'm going to overlook this. Read.
But thou shouldest not have looked on the day of thy brother in the day that he became a stranger. Neither shouldest thou have rejoiced over the children of Judah in the day of their destruction.
You shall never rejoice over the children of Judah's destruction. Read.
Neither shouldest thou have spoken proudly in the day of distress.
Neither should you have spoken proudly of the day of Judah's distress. Go on.
Thou shouldest not have entered into the gate of my people.
You see, Esau entered the gate. He said, you are also one of them to themselves. You enter them as foreigners as well. You entered the gate also. Go on.
In the day of their calamity. Yea, thou shouldest not have looked on their affliction in the day of their calamity, nor have laid hands on their substance in the day of their calamity.
Esau also laid hands on our substance. So it wasn't just Babylon. Esau was right beside Babylon, assisting, taking us captives, laying their hands on us, and taking our wealth. Read.
Neither shouldest thou have stood in the crossway to cut off those of his that did escape.
And those of us that did escape under the captive of Babylon, Esau said, rather than letting us go, understanding a brotherly covenant that we did have at one point in time, Esau says, no, don't let those escape. I see them over there. Rather say, okay, just let them go. No, they made sure that they saw our demise. They made sure that we didn't escape judgment. Read.
Neither shouldest thou have delivered up those of his that did remain in the day of distress.
And those that remained, Esau delivered those up. Go on.
For the day of the Lord is near.
That's it. Get me Psalms 137, verse 7. This is why King David said this.
The book of Psalms, chapter 137 and verse 7. Remember, O Lord, the children of Edom.
So David said prophetically, seeing in the spirit, remember, O Lord, the children of Esau.
In the day of Jerusalem, who said, race it, race it.
In the day of Jerusalem, when Babylon came and destroyed it, they said, race it, race it. Read.
Even to the foundation thereof.
Destroyed the temple, destroyed the gates, destroyed the walls, even to the foundation thereof. And Esau assisted and burned down our temples. Right. They took us captive. They killed those that tried to escape. They took those that remained and sold us. And they took our wealth. They took our substance. They took our land. Read.
O daughter of Babylon.
O daughter of Babylon. That's why David says, O daughter of Babylon, because they took after the customs and assisted Babylon in our destruction. Read.
Who art to be destroyed.
Who are to be destroyed for what they did against Jacob, and the day that we became strangers, and the day that the foreigners entered to our gates. Read.
Happy shall he be that rewardeth thee as thou hast served us.
God says, happy shall we be. That's going to reward Esau the way they did unto us. They always say to us, do unto those as others would do unto you. So we're going to do unto you as you have done unto us. So happy shall we be. We're going to do the same thing that you did unto us. Go on.
Happy shall he be.
Happy shall we be. Go on.
That taketh and dasheth thy little ones against the stones.
You think Esau didn't do this? This happened multiple times in history. This happened during the Assyrian captivity. This happened during the time of the Babylonian captivity. And Esau participated in taking our young ones and dashing them against the stone. They took our young ones during the what? The Spanish conquest. Right. To the Americas that are conquistadors, they have pictures of them dashing our children against the stone. Can you give me an image?
Bring that up.
To show you Bible prophecy David was seeing through the spirit of them taking our sons, our young black babies, our young Latino babies, our Israelite babies, and dashing them against the wall in a day of our distress, as if we were suffering as suffering. Pull that up. Show you what these bastards did. But why can't we all get along? We ain't getting along with none of you.
Right.
There ain't gonna be no peace. Is that the image?
Go to the one.
Give me the
go
one
back.
dashing. So people could get a clear depiction, a visual of how they treated our children. Is that it?
No, that wasn't it.
Yeah, you just pass it.
Right there, right there.
Right
Stay
there.
right there. Stay
Right there, right there. Enlarge that. Read that part again. I want people to see a clear, vivid depiction of what these demons did to us. And talking about we're a hate group. We're a hateful organization. We're a black supremacist identity extremist group. We're number 3 in a hate list.
We haven't done that
No, we never did that.
No, to anything.
To anybody.
Verse 9. Happy shall he be that taketh and dasheth thy little ones against the stones.
Happy shall we be. Yes, we will be happy. You're gonna see that day, you're gonna see the whites of my teeth smile when we take you to do what?
That taketh and dasheth thy little ones against the stones.
And tell me that's not Bible. Tell me that's not Bible. And you want to take out the Old Testament? Guess what? You never take out Psalms.
Right.
And this is the song of Psalms. This is the songs that we are going to sing in that day.
Bring it
Happy
out.
shall we be when we take your little white babies and do what?
Thy little ones against the stones.
That's what the Bible says. Don't get mad at me. Get mad at the Bible. So you know what? You got to deem the whole Bible as anti-Semitic. Because that's what the Bible says. But you say, oh, we're hate group, we're racist. Which baby have we dashed? This is your history. This is your history. We didn't do this. You did it. And you wrote it in the books. You documented it. You show your pictures. You got the images up. The records of what you did to our people. You reap what you sow. And this is the judgment of God. And there's nothing you could do. You can't run. You can't hide. We're going to find you and take it slow. Ready or not, here we come. You can't hide.
They're gonna find you and take you out slowly.
So now,
Hey, Cap, man, can we read this, man?
Yes,
Revelation 18.
Yes, sir.
Let's start verse 1, 2, and jump to 6. Just to back up what Captain said, based on what we just read in Psalms. He said we're going to reward her. It's going to be double. Read that.
Revelation chapter 18 and verse 1. And after these things, I saw another angel come down from heaven, having great power, and the earth was lightened with his glory.
The second return of the black Messiah, Christ, right?
And he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon the Great is fallen.
I said, this is America. It's falling. Babylon the Great, right?
Is fallen, and is become the habitation of devils,
Yeah.
and the hold of every foul spirit, and a cage of every unclean and hateful bird.
Jump to verse 6.
Verse 6. Reward her even as she rewarded you,
See that? Reward her even as she rewarded you. Go ahead.
and double unto her double,
So her punishment is going to be double. Read.
according to her works. And the cup which she hath filled to her double.
And that's Bible. Give me Bible. Give me Bible. Give me Bible.
Hey, Israel, let's get those likes up. Let's get the likes up ASAP. We have, over 400 on the comment board, so we should have over 400 likes. All right, let's get those likes up, Israel.
All right, let's move forward. Now, from 606 BC, the destruction of the temple, Esau conquered southern Palestine and inhabited, and later called it Idumea. Now, let's go to the Bible Atlas, Holman Quick Source. Okay. So now we're showing you the direction Esau went after he conquered us in Jerusalem and Palestine. So what happened afterwards? Where did he go?
The rise of Rome. From 1000 to 900 BC, early settlement of Latin tribes on hills near Tiber River crossing.
Get to the point. Go, keep going. Yep.
753 BC, traditional date of the founding of Rome. 7 kings of Rome, increasing influence and dominance of Etruscans over Rome.
The what?
The Etruscans over Rome.
Okay, go on.
509 BC.
This is what I want. This is the time period. So we're starting from the Babylonian period, 606 BC, when Babylon conquered us. Esau conquered, inhabited southern Palestine as well as Hebron. What did Esau do? Where did he go to afterward?
509 BC, expulsion of the Etruscan king Tarquin II. 534 to 509 BC, an establishment of the Roman Republic.
So Etruscan, that's when Esau first started the establishment of the Roman Republic. Now, you have any questions you want to call in, you can call us at 267-702-6121. 267-702-6121. Now, let's get a general history of Europe. So Rome conquered Etruria, or the Etruscans, in 509 BC. So this is just a map of Italy, the beginning of the Roman Republic, around 500 BC. They said 509 BC. If you could enlarge it, please. So you have Rome, Latium, and then you have right next to it, Etruscans.
Yeah,
that
put your cursor.
Area. Yep, the whole area. Yeah, that's Latium. Now go up, go up. So this is Etruscans. So Latium or Latim is Rome. But the Roman Republic was first established in 509 BC by them conquering, exposing the Etruscan kings. Remember, Etrusca or the Etruscans come from Tyrus.
Right. Japheth.
Yep.
That's why that sea right there is called the Tyrrhenian Sea. You see in the bottom left?
Yeah, enlarge it. Yep.
Tyrrhenian Sea.
Yeah,
exactly. There you go. Tyrus, Tyrrhenian Sea, the Etruscan Sea, Japheth. So Esau first, after the destruction of Jerusalem and the habitation of South Palestine, they later made the conquest to Etrusca. Let's get the book. Let's go to page 123. The expansion of the Roman Republic and the conquest of Italy.
The expansion of the Roman Republic and the conquest of Italy. Early struggles of the Republic. It was a tiny nation which began its uncertain career after the expulsion of the Etruscan kings about 500 BC. The territory of the Roman Republic thus far comprised only the city with the neighboring fields for a very few miles around. On the other side of the Tiber lived the dreaded Etruscans, and on the Roman side of the river, all around the little republic, lived the Latin tribes. Only loosely...
So, on the other side of the Etrusca lived the Latin tribes. Go on.
Latium. Only loosely united with Rome by treaty. Mm-hmm. Fortunately for the Romans, within a generation after the foundation of the Republic, the Greek fleet of Syracuse utterly destroyed the Etruscan fleet in 474 BC. Later, the Etruscans were attacked from the north by the Gauls, who were at this time pouring over the Alpine passes into the valley of the Po. This weakening of the Etruscans probably saved Rome from destruction. By 400 BC or a little after, the Romans had conquered and taken possession of a fringe of new territory on all sides, which protected them from their enemies. In this new territory, the Romans planted colonies of citizens, mostly farmers cultivating the new lands, or granted citizenship.
So that's when Rome decided to make the descent on Rome. And they established the citizens, the farmers, in the territory. So from 509 BC, when he first entered, there's conquest, there's wars, leading to the Roman Republic. So this didn't happen in 1 year. This happened over a period of time that took for Roman to conquer the Etruscan tribes, or Etruscan, or Tyrus.
Right.
Let's go to page 124.
Go down. Subjugation of the Latin tribes, 338 BC. Mm-hmm. As Rome recovered from this disaster, it was evident that the city needed fortifications, and for the first time, masonry walls were built around it. Alarmed at Rome's growing power, the Latin tribes now endeavor to break away from the control of the powerful walled city. In the 2 years' war, with which resulted the city was completely victorious. Rome thus gained the undisputed leadership of the Latin tribes. The year 338 BC, in which this important event took place, also witnessed the defeat of the Greek cities at the hands of Philip of Macedonia.
So, read that again.
The year 338 BC, in which this important event took place.
So, Rome subjugated the Latin tribes in 338 BC. Now read.
The year 338 BC, in which this important event took place, also witnessed the defeat of the Greek cities at the hands of Philip of Macedonia.
So, the Romans, as well as the Greeks, conquered Etruria, Latin, and as well as Greece at the same time period. That was at the time of Esau to rise up in power. That was time. So after, like I said, so now we're seeing the footprints from Basra or Petra. They went into 606 BC into Palestine, southern Palestine. From there, they migrated and made a conquest into Etruria or the Etruscan territory. They conquered them in 509 BC, leading up to the different wars. Like I said, you had different wars. The Gauls, everybody was coming in attacking Etruria. Leading to their downfall, Roman gained control over that territory. 338, and the Latins aligned themselves with Rome. 338 BC, Rome decided to conquer the Latin tribes. I'll say it again. At one point in time, the Latins, which was Japheth, they aligned themselves with Rome. Rome, in 338 BC, alongside with Philip of Macedon, conquered Latium, which is Rome, Roman Empire, and Philip of Macedon conquered Greece. So Esau had the whole area in a global net. So that's now you're starting to see Esau venture far out into the west, Italy, subjugated Italy. Now it's pushing forth to Europe.
They tell you how Rome had taken the mines in Spain too, in Maccabees.
Right.
Yes. Yep.
All happened at the same damn time.
Mm-hmm. Now, let's go to the next page. Next page, 125.
The Romans lost several battles, but finally crushed the Samnites in 295 BC. In a fierce battle at Sentinum, this victory not only gave the Romans possession of central Italy, but it made them the leading power in the whole peninsula. 194, Rome, mistress of central and northern Italy. The Etruscans were unable to longer maintain themselves as the leading power. One by one, their cities were taken by the Romans, or they entered into alliance with Rome. The intruding Gallic barbarian. That's it?
That's it. Yep. So now let's get to the next book.
That's Romans chapter 8 right there.
Yep. Exactly. Read that one. Read that one more time.
Go back.
Sorry, one more time.
Rome, mistress of central and northern Italy. The Etruscans were unable to longer maintain themselves as a leading power. One by one, their cities were taken by the Romans, or they entered into alliance with Rome. The intruding Gallic barbarians were beaten off, though the Gauls, who had settled in the north of the Italian peninsula, continued to hold the Po Valley. The northern boundary of the Roman conquest was therefore along the Arnus River south of the Apennines. The Romans were already supreme from the Arnus to the Greek cities of southern Italy.
So now that's what I want. To show you Rome started to migrate into southern Italy. So now let's get the next book. I want a manual of comparative philology. All right.
In short, the whole Etruscan history is involved in the greatest obscurity, which was caused, according to Nabatian, by the careful destruction of all the Etruscan annals by the Romans themselves, to conceal the disgrace of the Etruscan conquest.
That wasn't the case. Read it again. I'm showing you what Esau does. After they secede, they conquer an empire. They secede them. No, because Latin and Rome, they had an alliance together.
Right.
So after 338 BC, what happened? Because they conquered the Etruscans, they made an alliance with Latin or Latium. 338 BC, they decided that to conquer Italy or Latium itself. After they conquered and subjugated Italy, as well as Etrusca, what did they do? In order to hide their footsteps. Go on.
In short, the whole of Etruscan history is involved in the greatest obscurity.
They said the whole Etruscan history is involved in the greatest obscurity. I mean, it's unknown. It's unclear. It's built in confusion. It's hard to trace their steps. Go on.
Which was caused, according to Nabier, by the careful destruction of all the Etruscan annals, by the Romans
It
themselves.
says, which was caused by the careful destruction of all the Etruscan annals by the Romans themselves. They destroy their records.
They said, careful destruction. Get rid of that.
Yep.
Get rid of that.
I don't
Get
like
rid of that.
this. I
Yeah.
don't like
Yep.
that. Keep this. Keep that.
Break all their monuments. Don't leave any traces of them behind. As we succeed them and become them. Now we're the Etruscans. Now we're the Latins.
They
the
say that
Latian.
today. The Romans, the Edomite Romans, say they're the real Etruscans, that they descend from the Etruscans.
Yep. And this is where it comes from. They said destroy their records. I'm going to show you why. And I'm going to show you exactly why they think that the Romans today are the real Etruscans. I'm going to show you why. We got a text?
All right. It says, thank you. Oh, that's the second one. Are the Gauls Edom?
Yeah, so the Gauls, so you had two different sect of Gauls. So we know that we were in the territories of Gaul. We brought that out. We were called the Galatians and so forth over there. We was over there first, and then, yes, Esau came over there also. And they, like, the history that we're reading right now, as far as them taking our identity, they did the same thing as they ventured over into Europe.
Because you look at, you read earlier, it says the Gauls also helped attack the Etruscans too.
Right.
That's all Edomite tribes. What you're realizing, whether Philip of Macedon or the Romans conquered Etruria, as well as Latium, these are different Edomite tribes. You also had Edomites that stayed in Idumea or southern Palestine. So now you're saying, okay, who's who? Esau spread themselves, and just like Israel, you have some Israelites in Sparta or Lacedaemonia.
Right.
You have some Israelites in Tartar. You have some of us in Ireland. So we were, or Scythia,
Carthage.
There was different tribes that inhabited different region. Esau has different tribes. That's why they call the Dukes of Edom. So you're reading the different tribes taking on different territories as they made their conquests.
Esau were called the Visigoths over there. They were called the Visigoths. So you had Japheth that was over there. Then we came over, and then Esau. Yes, they was over there too, but they were called the Visigoths. All right.
Exactly. Yep. Now, let's go to give me Obadiah chapter 1 verse 6. So Esau tends, every time they succeed, they conquer and they succeed a nation, they destroy their records. That's always been a repeated pattern anytime they inhabit an area. They trying to do it with Gad or North American Indians. Give them enough time, if we was here for long enough, they will become them as well. Just like they became the Jews.
The hell is this?
Now, Obadiah 1 verse 6.
Obadiah chapter 1 and verse 6. How are the things of Esau searched out? How are his hidden things sought up?
So how are the things of Esau searched out? The things of Esau are now searched out because God gave us the spirit and the wisdom to be able to go into the records and do the comparison analysis between the Bible and their footsteps, how they became these different cultures. Read on.
All the men of that confederacy
That's
have...
it. So the Bible says, how are the things Esau searched out? And the reason why it's so difficult to search out the things of Esau and the footsteps of who they are, who they became, because everywhere they go, they tend to remove their traces. They remove their footsteps. They hide the history. They destroy monuments. They destroy statues. They destroy towers. They destroy records. That's how they hide themselves. Get me Isaiah chapter 14, verse 16 now. Isaiah 14, verse 16.
The book of Isaiah, chapter 14 and verse 16. They that see thee shall narrowly look upon thee and consider thee, saying, is this the man that made the earth to tremble?
Is this the man that made the earth? Is this the man? Because why? The man of sin. Like I said it before, it's very difficult to trace Esau and his footsteps based upon his erasing and changing of history. He assumes the identity of every culture, becomes them, remove their records from them, and becomes that in order for them to make it difficult to say this is the man. This is the man behind all the destruction all along. This is the man behind the confusion throughout world history. This is the man that waged war with all major societies, has crippled nations, has destroyed governments, has overturned people, has assumed the identity of nations. This is that man. We found him. We know who he is. And everybody's going to destroy him because why? He is the virus of the earth. Now, get me traditions concerning Edomites. Page 231.
This the page? All right. This is modern Judaism. Okay.
Modern Judaism.
First, that the descendants of Esau, the sworn enemies of the descendants of Jacob, even to the end of the world, were at first a small nation, inhabiting Mount Seir and the adjacent country, contiguous to the land of Canaan, that they were easily confined within their own limits.
That's what I said earlier. Esau and Edom or Basra was easily confined within their own limits. They couldn't move outside of the region. They had to wait for the Syrians to come in to remove Israel out of the land. They had to wait for Babylon to remove Israel out of the land in order for them to make their conquest and move further to the west and to Europe. Go on.
As long as the Israelites enjoyed a great and formidable empire in Canaan. But that after the powerful republic of the 12 tribes was destroyed by the Assyrians and Babylonians, they wonderfully increased in numbers and strength, extended their dominion towards the west.
So Esau extending the dominion towards the what?
The west.
Towards the west. Remember, after Israel fell in Palestine, they extended the dominion to the west. Where's the west? Where's the west? Trusia, the Etruscans. That's the west. Esau, but we just read that the Romans conquered and subjugated Etrusia or the Etruscans. But here the history says Esau extended the dominion to the west. Go on.
Spread their colonies far and wide. Subjugated Italy.
Well, subjugated what?
Italy.
Esau subjugated Italy. But we just read that the Romans subjugated Latium or Italy. Rome did that. But the scholars are saying Esau did that after they left their territory. After they left Petra, they went to Palestine. They subjugated Etrusia. Then they subjugated Italy in 338 BC alongside with Philip of Macedon. Showing you Esau's footprints and the traces in history, how they move and maneuver. Now, is that it?
Founded Rome and the Roman Empire.
Founded Roman Republic. I'll say it again. Esau founded the Roman Republic in 509 BC and the Roman Empire in 338 BC. Now, let's go to the next book.
He has also rendered the Hebrew Kittim by Romans and elsewhere by Italy, which, as far as we can judge, signifies Macedonia.
So it said he also rendered the Hebrew Kittim by Romans. I'll say it again. The Hebrew Kittim is a descendant of Japheth, a son of Japheth.
Right.
Says by Italy. So Kittim is Italy or Rome. Go on.
Which, as far as we can judge, signifies Macedonia.
He says, as far as we can judge, signifies Macedonia. So you notice the Macedonians and Kittim, Italy, or Latium, they're the same people.
Right.
I'll say it again. The Macedonians that Philip conquered and the Latiums that Rome conquered in Italy are the same people. So both descend from Kittim. He's going to say something?
No, he let you know there's a connection going on. See Genesis chapter 10, verse 4.
Why did he say see Genesis chapter 10, verse 4? Because Kittim is Italy, where Rome subjugated. See Genesis 10, verse 4, because Kittim is the son of Japheth. These were the Javanese people. These were the ones that inhabit that whole area. I want you to stay with me. Keep in mind. Follow me where we're bringing this. Go on. So now, we're showing you how Kittim, as well as Macedon, those are Japhetic territories that Rome acquired. Go on.
And the commentators on Daniel chapter 11, verse 30. True it is in this place, the prophet speaks of the Romans.
True. The prophet does speak about the Romans in this place, Italy. Go on.
But It is because the Romans, he alludes to, sailed from Delos and Macedonian fleet, which they found in the harbor of Delos. Vide Levi. Bokart Phaleg has displayed all his learning to support the opinion of the rabbins, who by Kittim understand Rome and Italy. He shows that in this country are found cities named Cetium and Estia.
So he's talking about the cities that's found in Italy or Latium, Rome. It says Setia and Esketia. Go on.
Also a river called Cetis. But he also brings very good proof that Kittim imports Macedonia. See Kittim.
Go on.
The Jews, generally called the Romans, Idumeans.
Wait, but he's saying the Jews generally call the Romans Idumeans. But earlier in the chapter, he says Kittim, or Italy, where Rome subjugated, was Genesis 10 verse 4, is the descendant of Japheth. So why are the Jews calling, wait, read that part again?
The Jews generally call the Romans Idumeans.
Why are the Jews calling the Romans Idumeans when Italy, or Kittim, Latium, comes from Japheth? Idumeans and Japheth are two different nations or races of people. He's trying to draw an argument based upon the confusion that people today, Israelites, take it as a doctrine, saying that Esau, the so-called white man, is Japheth today.
Right.
So he's trying to draw he's trying to measure up why are the Jews calling the Romans Idumeans where Rome is in Italy, where Kittim lives, as well as Macedon. It was in the same region where Kittim comes from. Go on.
And the Roman Empire, the cruel empire of Edom.
The Roman Empire, the cruel empire of Edom. Go on.
It is difficult to guess their reason, since Italy and Rome are far from Idumea.
He said, wait a minute. So what is the region of the Jews? Italy and Rome are far from Idumea. Italy and Rome are Japhetic territories. Idumea is all the way on the opposite side.
In the mountains.
On the mountains. So why do the Jews associate Kittim, or why are they associating Italy and Rome with Idumean, or the kingdom of Edom, when they're in Rome? Two different sides of the mountain.
What's going on?
What's going on? What's happening right now? Go on.
And have never had any affinity with the Idumeans.
The Kittim or the Macedonians never had any affinity with the or Edom. They're two separate people. Two sides of the opposite sides of the mountain. Go on.
When the more learned rabbins are asked wherefore, they maintain with great assurance and obstinacy that the Idumeans embrace Christianity.
That the Idumeans, so when it comes back into the experts of our fathers, when they ask about, where do you get this evidence from? It says the Romans that inhabit Italy today, or Kittim, they embrace what?
They embrace Christianity.
They embrace Christianity. Read.
Settled themselves in Italy.
They settled themselves. They subjugated, and they settled in Italy. Go on.
And there extended their dominion.
And there, after they settled in Italy, they extended their dominion into Europe.
Dang.
So that kills that doctrine. One hand of the doctrine. So the argument he's trying to draw from is, wait a minute. So Rome is associated with Italy, or Macedonia is from Kittim. Those are Japhetic territories. But the Jews are saying that the Romans are Idumeans from the kingdom of Edom. Then the author draws two conclusions and say, wait a minute. So you have two places, two other sides of the mountains, no relationship with each other, and threw me off with that. So no relationship with each other on the opposite side of the mountains, and there's, you completely threw me off with that. I don't know why you did that. Now I forgot my point. Opposite side of the mountain. Let me start again. So you had Kittim in Italy, which is, they're saying that the Romans inhabit. On the opposite side, the Jews are saying that that's Esau. Right. That's the kingdom of Edom. How is it that the Romans that inhabit Italy are Edomites when they're two different opposite sides of the mountain?
They have nothing to do with Macedonia.
Have nothing to do with Macedonia or Kittim. No association. But they're saying that the Jews are saying that the Romans or the Idumeans subjugated Italy and then extended their dominion from there.
But remember, it says that the Tuscan history is covered in obscurity.
Right.
When they conquered them, that's why they don't know. They're like, yo, what's going on? Because
Exactly.
when Esau conquered, he took their records and destroyed the ones he wanted to destroy.
Hey,
Exactly.
but at the end of the day, he had to go back to our records to really see to get the real
who it
answer.
really is,
Yeah.
which is the Bible, basically.
Yeah, which is the Bible.
The Bible.
Exactly.
It's like
Now let's
the people is really seeing, like, wait a minute, this guy, they don't have no affiliation. Affiliation, he came from all the way from the mountain. Now all of a sudden now he calling himself those people.
Yep.
Right. How they hear and hear all at the same time. Pretty much.
Why the Jews calling them that? Like, what's going on?
Right.
So and he's confused. He said, I don't understand. But Japheth is kiddo. So Italy is Latu. That's Macedon is kiddo. Genesis 10 and 4. We know that. They inhabited Europe. But the Romans, the white people today, lived there. So they have to be Japheth. But why are the Jews saying that
The Edom.
they're Edom? They Idumea. Though Edom is on the other
Brain
side of the mountain.
exhaustion. Brain
And
exhaustion.
he's like this.
Like,
Then
wait a
the
minute,
Jews says they embraced Christianity and they subjugated Italy. So
Going into the rabbit hole like we do.
he went to the he went to the rabbit hole. He's confused, so he's trying to draw a conclusion.
No
between
harness.
the two.
No
No
harness.
harness. Rabbit hole. He's trying to draw a conclusion from the two, and try to compare the history from biblical history. He said no, that's not what happened. This is what happened historically. Edom went from Petra, and we're going to show you that. Let's get the next book.
History of Rome. Even in Virgil's time, this phenomenon must have been well understood by the peasantry of Italy, in which they received from the subjugated Etruscans.
Read it again.
Even in Virgil's time, this phenomenon must have been well understood by the peasantry of Italy, in which they received from the subjugated Etruscans.
In which they received from the subjugated Etruscans. Now jump down. I want you to pay close attention to this. Read.
The ruins of Petra.
The ruins of Petra. From Basra, Idumea. Go on.
The capital of the Edomites.
The capital what?
Of the Edomites.
Of the Edomites. Read.
Or Idumeans.
Or Idumeans. Read.
Discovered by Buckard. Displayed a wonderful similarity to Etruscan monuments at present existing.
Wait a minute. Read that again.
The ruins of Petra.
The ruins of Petra. Read.
The capital of the Edomites.
The capital of the Edomites of Esau. Read.
Or Idumeans.
Read.
Discovered by Buckard. Displayed a wonderful similarity to Etruscan monuments at present existing.
They display a wonderful similarity to the Etruscan monument at this present existing day. Why is there a similarity? I'm going to ask you a question again. Why is there a similarity between the Etruscan monuments and the monuments of Petra? I'll ask it again. Why is there a similarity in the monuments of Petra and Etruscan monuments? Because Esau took their archaeological design and they brought it to Etrusia. They brought it to Italy. They brought it to Spain. They brought it to America. That's why in Petra, now let's see it. What did Esau do once they left Petra? They took that's why how are the things of Esau hidden? How are the things of Esau searched out? Showing you that Esau is Rome. Esau is the Greeks.
Even though
they became them.
Even though they was moving, Cap, they left behind some crumbs.
Yep.
That you are able to kind of trace, their steps.
Markers.
Right.
Now, bring that out. You got it? Show me the Petra. So ancient city of Petra. Showing you what the Scott. Let me see if we can find anything of Etruscan monuments.
And how it's worded too. It says the things in Petra are similar to that in the Etruscan territory, but in reality, the Etruscans have similarities to Petra because the origin is Petra.
Yeah.
Not Etruscan.
Right.
Yep.
All right, come Petra.
Okay, that's Petra. Let me see if you can find any Etruscan monuments. Let me see something. I'll look for it. Get Roman monuments.
Put them side, make a side by side.
Hey, Cap, you want to read the question while they wait? Or?
Yeah, what's the question?
All right. It says, Shalom leadership, Most High Christ bless you all. Is it the same thing they did to become Ashkenazi? Because according to Genesis 10, 2, and 3, Ashkenaz was the descendants of Japheth.
Exactly the same thing. They call it today the Ashkenazi Jews. They're not Ashkenazi Jews.
Right.
They just inhabited that region.
Right.
It's the same thing they did. Or even Gog or Magog. We said that's Russia and Ukraine, but that's, and if you go back to the ancient Greek history, those are Japhetic territories. Esau became them. They assumed the identity. So now the Bible identifies those going to be the last two ruling empires, like I said before, they get destroyed after 1,000 years. But that's going to, that's going into Esau inhabiting and acquiring those different territories that Japheth used to inhabit. So you got me? What do you got now? What's the next one? What's that?
Wow, that's Etruscan architecture.
Is that?
Yes, go back.
Go back. Get it.
Look at that.
So, Etruscan architect. Damn. So that it wasn't that wasn't always the case. Once Rome came in it, now I want you to put side by side. So Etruscan architect.
Yeah, go out.
Once they subjugated Etruria in 509 BC, so that we're gonna put everything together, show Rome's trace or Esau's tracks from Petra.
So even the architectural thing, they stole that too.
Yep.
It don't belong to them.
Yeah, you'll see the similarities from Petra to Greece to Rome to Etrusca.
Temple of Zeus. That also.
Yeah, yep. Temple of Zeus.
Temple of Zeus.
Yep.
Temple of Ephesia.
So we're going to show you. We're going to put everything side by side to show you Esau's footprints. So, from Petra. All right, let's get at the Petra. Let's get Greece. So we have, at the Petra.
Right there.
Let's
Right
get
there.
Italy, Rome.
Middle
Rome.
one. No, wait. The bottom one. Middle one right now. On top. Middle top.
Right there.
Yeah, that's good. Yep. Same, look.
We're showing you the footprints. The different territories that they conquered.
Look at that. Same thing. I stole that.
Now get for America, get the Lincoln Monument.
Yep.
Are you able to do it? It ain't too hard, is it? No, it's taking a lot of time.
All right, it's one more.
Sure, or even the White House. That kind of look like
Yeah.
the White House.
Yeah.
the first
Yeah, it
White
is.
House.
Get Spain too. Get Spain too.
Look at my mom.
No, we'll leave Spain for now. Like I said, we want to take too much time.
Yeah, look at that.
All right, so let's put them all side by side. And we're going to show the footprints Esau took. All right, you got it? Let's start from Etruria. Start from Petra and show the timeline.
You got another question as we wait too. It's a little wacky.
Yeah, it's
Is
a
it
little
on
wacky.
topic? If it's not on topic,
It's not.
it's not on topic.
No, I mean, if you want to read it.
Nope.
No.
All right. So let's bring up Petra. Bring up Petra. Okay. So from Petra, Esau decided to move out to or make their conquests into southern Palestine. 606 BC under the Babylonian Empire when they destroyed Jerusalem. Then from Petra, Esau went to Etruria when they conquered the Etruscans in 509 BC and successfully conquered them in the 480s or early 400 BCs. So that's the Etruscan. And remember, Esau leaves their breadcrumbs or the footprints everywhere they go. They change their monuments. They erase their history. From there, Esau went to Greece. They changed their monuments.
There he goes.
They went to Rome.
Oh, you ain't had Rome lined up?
Or Italy. Same thing.
Yeah, the Pantheon.
They conquer Latium or Latin or Rome in 338 BC alongside Philip of Macedon.
Yeah, there you go.
So they leave their footprints or the breadcrumbs wherever they go. And they destroyed the records. So this is not Etruscan or Japhetic monuments. Those are Edomite.
Right. All the way from Petra, all the way up to today.
Exactly. All right. And let's, yeah, we're going to stop it there. I don't think we have, do we have enough time? Yeah, we do. We can finish out, right?
Yeah. Probably one more page.
Yeah, that kind of leads up to the next stuff. All right. So we're going to end it there, Israel. We're going to end it there. Lord's will, like I say, you got something out of today's class. Make sure you like, make sure you comment, make sure you share, like, and comment. Next week, we're going to continue the series. And like I said, we're going to go to the Greeks. We're going to go into and like pretty much bring it to a conclusion in terms of Philip of Macedon as well as Alexander and how they assumed the identity of Japheth, became the Etruscans, became the Latins, became the Greeks and the Macedonians. We got more. All right?
Before you go,
yes.
just one scripture.
Luke go
8,
ahead.
Verse 17. Like Esau is hiding everything.
Yeah, go ahead.
Christ says this.
Yep.
Everything's in dark.
The book of Luke, chapter 18. Sorry, you said 8 verse?
8,
sorry.
17.
Chapter 8, verse 17. For nothing is secret that shall not be made manifest, neither anything hid that shall not be known and come abroad.
Right. So this is what's happening right now. The Most High is bringing everything to light, exposing Esau for who he is.
Exactly. Yep, exactly.
That's
All right.
the earth swallowing that flood.
Yep, exactly.
Hey, Israel, let's give leadership a hand. All praise to the Most High for that class. Great class. All right, Israel, do not forget to subscribe to our Hidden History Radio on YouTube. All right, hit the notifications button so you know when we go live. Also, subscribe to IUIC Philadelphia and IUIC Philadelphia in the classroom to get the latest videos from the captain officers of IUIC Philly. Don't forget to donate to our Hidden History so we can purchase more books to bring out. You can donate on PayPal to IUIC.Philadelphia at IsraelUnite.org. In the comment section, put OHH. Donate to the Booster Club. You can donate at fundraising at IsraelUnite.org. Fundraising at IsraelUnite.org. And last but not least, subscribe to IUIC TV to get exclusive content from the leadership of IUIC. All right.
Also, we would like to thank the tech, IT. You know, you interrupt me during my speech. Scripture says never interrupt a man in the middle of his speech. Do me up. It's all right, IT. That's the one. I'll give you one pass. I'll give you one pass.
Emotional damage.
And I'll also like to thank the bishop, the deacons, like I said, everybody, the bishop, Nathaniel, everything that he's done for us. All of the Most High using him to teach us and bring out this information. If it wasn't for the Most High using him to bring out, for us to bring out this information, none of us would know this. So all praise to the Most High for bringing him back on our earth. We'd like to thank the breakfast crew, as well as the tea crew, for feeding us and giving us the energy. All right, Israel. We'd like to thank the brothers also on the show. Until next week, remember donations. We need your help. We need your assistance. Make sure you like and share and comment. All right, Israel. Shalom. Most High in Christ bless.
Shalom. Most High in Christ bless.
All the